This is functions. So functions are fun.
Yay.
Yay. And what they do is they allow you to write code and then use it later. So far we have been writing code, and the only way that allows us to reuse code is if we have loops. But if I want to write code and use it in 4 different sections of my code, I don't want to copy and paste those 30 lines of code, right? Just do a function. So, all right, guys, stop playing your game and pay attention.
Okay.
I can tell when you guys are playing your game and when you're not. So please stop playing your game. And I won't ask again because otherwise I'll come over and I'll, like, I don't know. No. So what you need to do is to create a function. There's right now 2 big vocab words we're going to use. Defining and calling. Defining a function creates it. Calling a function runs it. So if I say you aren't calling your function, that means you aren't running it. You aren't using your function at all. You've created it, but you don't use it. So the way you create a function is you write the word define, def, D-E-F. Pretty easy. We are defining. Notice it changes color. And if you type define, nope, that's bad. Sonny, stop playing the game.
Okay, I just tried it.
I know you were running a little behind. You needed to test it. But define and then function 1. Notice it turns blue, telling you it's a function. So it's important. Followed by parentheses, and this is why so many things have parentheses, because there's so many built-in functions to Python that do certain things.
Oh, we're making our own?
Yes.
Oh, it's so cool. So we get like big bunches of code.
Yep, you can have big bunches of code.
Oh, that's all.
Followed by a colon.
Can you make an entire game just a function?
You can, yeah. Notice it's indented. Notice it's indented. So anything indented is inside of my function. So print hello. This not in function. So even though they're right next to each other, if you have it, once it's no longer indented, it is not part of the function. So we've defined a function. Now we need to call a function. Again, those are the 2 big vocab words for today. Call and defining functions. Actually, we have a whole 7 more minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
Whew. You guys following me?
Yeah.
Questions so far?
Wow.
Yes.
Can you like save your function to like the web and like download it? So you don't have to like redefine it every time?
Yeah, but you have to have an account with the website to host and all that stuff.
Okay.
So now what we need to do is if we save our code, so let me save this real quick. To second hour, functions intro. And I run it, notice. What do you guys notice?
You only get not in function.
I only have not in function. I'm only displaying this because this code will only run when the function is called. So the way you call a function is you type the name of the function and you put parentheses after it. Now when you run it, notice, I want you guys to notice something really, really, really important. Even though I print hello first in this code and then not in function, it is in a different order when you display it.
Because you put function 1 after.
Because I put function 1 after this. So the way code works is, again, I like writing on my screen.
That makes sense that way though.
Yeah, so what we do is the code runs and goes, okay, here is a function. We are saving that to use later. So it hits this line. It makes sure that there aren't syntax errors. So your code, if you do have an error in your function, like you're missing a parentheses, it will tell you. So basically the way your code will run is it runs through looking for basic errors. Are you missing a colon? Are you missing a parentheses? Are you missing this? Are you missing that? Then it runs through it again and it evaluates and actually runs your code. That's why when you run a code and you have a syntax error, boom, you know immediately something's wrong. Whereas in the other types of errors, it has to wait till it gets to that specific line of code. You guys get it?
Yeah, I think so.
So one checks for spelling, right? How easy is it for a computer to run through and say this is spelled wrong? Pretty easy, right? You're missing a period. This should be capitalized because it's a proper name. But it's a lot harder and takes longer for a computer to realize whether or not something makes sense. If I were to give you a paper stock tonight, I go find as many grammatical errors as you can. That's easier than going, hey, this transition between these two paragraphs doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You need to rewrite it. So the first time it runs through, it just looks for grammatical errors. Then it runs through the second time, takes longer, and then it starts evaluating your code and running it. Make sense? So it will find your grammatical errors in your function, but it won't run it. But it won't run it and find all your errors. So again, so it hits this line. It says, hey, we have a function. We're going to save that for later. There's no errors in this line. It goes to this line, displays it, and then it goes here. Once it hits function 1, what it does is it goes back, and I'm going to change color. It goes back to this line and then actually does this code. And then we have this line here. Does that make sense? Now, what would happen if I had fun one 2 more times after that? What would you expect to see? Right, you would expect to see hello and hello here. So you can run a function as many times as you want, and it's pretty easy to do. How do we run a code a certain number of times? A for loop. So for x in range. David, how many times do you want this code to run? Pick a number. 4. This, I kid you not, guys, this is on at least a quiz. It'll say, have a function run the number of times a user wants. This is what I want. So for x in range 4, we'll actually see hello, 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 hello. Because it runs this 4 times.
So defining it just something equal to something, defining a variable.
Yeah, this is how you basically, you can think of a function as a variable for a whole bunch of code.
Yeah.
Now, there are different types of functions. This one, you have void and return functions. Void just displays information, right? Nothing substantial, just here's info, gotta go. A value returning function will actually do stuff and then you can take a variable and have the variable equal that output. We're not going to get into that today. I don't even know if we're going to get into that next week just because I want to give you guys plenty of time to work on your final. But there are 2 different types of functions. Void just displays information. Value returning actually gives you a value in return. Hence the name, value returning function. Stockton.
Or functions like the ones that we define, are they usually hard coded to specific variables we've already made, or?
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that next week. So your homework, and I'm going to put this online, is to create 3 functions that do 3 things. I don't care what they do. I legitimately don't care what they do. I want you guys to create 3 functions, and then call them. This is a very simple assignment over the weekend. You need to call them like this.
Okay.
Right? 3 functions that are called. That is your homework. That's all it is. Okay?
Okay, are you gonna post the?
I will make an assignment, yes. So you guys are good to go. I hope you guys have a great day.